Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to answer a question for you. Can you learn to play the piano without a teacher? Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so, and make sure to check the notifications bell to never miss a new video. If you haven't seen my previous video a week ago, that was answering the question, are the Learn to Play the Piano in 15 Days apps and courses a scam? That question ties in very well with this one, so you might benefit from watching both of them. In a world of piano apps, YouTube videos, online courses, and all kinds of resources promising you to teach you how to play the piano in 15 days or 3 months or whatever amount of time, you might ask the question, do I really need a teacher, or can all of these resources substitute for a teacher? Well, it depends on what you call a teacher. Is an app a teacher? Is watching a teacher talk on YouTube considered having a teacher? Is watching a pianist play a piece on YouTube considered having a teacher? Well, in order to answer this question, I'm going to define the term teacher as a person that you have face-to-face interaction with. And that can be a physical lesson where you're in the room, or it could be a Skype lesson where you are at a distance from the teacher, but there's still interaction both ways. So that's what I would call a teacher. When it comes to young children, parents always try to look for the best teachers for their kids, and they are very unlikely to ever let their kids learn solely from apps or video lessons. This is because children can't concentrate so well alone as with an engaging teacher. They might find it difficult to follow instructions from books and videos, and also they need a lot more physical interaction to keep them seated on the chair, to help them open up their hands and help them with their shoulders, finding notes, which might be very difficult for a 5-year-old to follow from a book or from a video. When it comes to older beginners and adults, the situation is very different. There are certain things that might discourage an older beginner or student from seeking a teacher, and these are the following. The first one is financial struggles or difficulties. If you're on a tight budget, or if you have to feed your 3 children as a single mom, you're not going to spend your hard-earned money on very expensive piano lessons. This is just a given. Music education is a luxury still, so this might be one of the reasons why somebody who really wants to learn the piano might turn to an app or a free YouTube video or online course. The second reason is commitment. Some students might not have the commitment that it takes to attend piano lessons. They might not have the time or discipline for a regular practice schedule. Again, if you have a full-time job, you might find it difficult to make it to your piano lesson at the same time every week. The third reason is anxiety, which is not as common as the other ones, but I've seen it before. Adults especially might find it petrifying to play in front of a stranger. So the idea of going to someone's home and not playing very well in front of a teacher might put them off completely from seeking help from a teacher. The next reason is one of the most important ones. Most adults or older students find the traditional piano journey very long, boring, and tedious. They just want to learn their favorite songs from the radio without practicing scales and arpeggios for hours, and going to a teacher might be associated with that kind of traditional approach, and they think that that's all they're going to be doing, and they're not going to get to play their songs for a very long time, and it will be very boring. And lastly, as I said in the introduction, we have an abundance of resources now, lots of apps, lots of video lessons, lots of online courses, lots of books, lots of CD accompaniments. And when you have so many resources, you might as well question, do you need a teacher when you have all of these things which are much cheaper? You only have to buy them once, some of them are even free. If you're watching this video, you're probably hesitating whether you should get a teacher for yourself or you should just get started alone. You might have even had a look at some of these apps, you might have tried them out but not got much progress. You might have even watched YouTube videos, but there is only so much you can do, and at certain points you get stuck and you can't progress on. And I think these are the crucial points in one's progress when you really have to ask yourself the question, do I need a teacher to be able to progress on and get better? Although there is an awful lot you can learn from these apps and video lessons, and they are extremely useful, there is one vital thing missing from all of these resources, and that is feedback. Feedback doesn't necessarily have to come from a teacher. It can come from a listener, your friend who's listening to you in the room. It can come from a very smart app which is using artificial intelligence to pick up on your mistakes. It can be anything that is coming back towards you after you play something. Because when you read a book or try to follow a video, it's a one-way communication. You're only sending out things, but you're not getting anything back. And when you have feedback, then you're sending out something and there is communication coming back towards you on how you're performing, how it sounds from the outer perspective. During my years as a piano teacher, I have taught many children, teens, and lots of adults as well. And at the beginning of every lesson, I usually ask the questions, so how did you get on? How is the piece going? And most of the time the answer I get is great, or sometimes they even say, oh, it's perfect, I mastered it. The truth is revealed when they actually start playing the piece on their lesson and they are told that there is a huge error in the rhythm, in the style, or the notes. A beginner, and sometimes even an advanced student, is going to be oblivious to their mistakes unless they are pointed out, and they would happily play along for hours, weeks, and months without ever noticing the mistake in their work or performance. You might think that you're doing great, you're playing your song which is written in 3/4, but you're putting in some little breaks or rests in between every single bar, which actually makes the song sound like it's in 4/4. This happens so many times during lessons, and the student would have no idea that he changed the time signature. I hope this simple example shows you the importance of feedback and a second pair of ears listening to you while you're performing. Besides the obvious pointing out mistakes, a teacher is so much more than that. A good teacher is going to apply a different method to every single student for maximum progression. A good teacher will talk about music in a way that you will remember for years to come. A good teacher is going to be engaging. A good teacher might become your good friend. And a good teacher will make your lesson fun and enjoyable, helping you to progress and not give up too soon. So after all this little talk that I gave you now, if you do decide to commence your piano journey without a teacher all by yourself, then here are some of my best tips that you might find very useful. Try to look for a method book that's more like a complete bundle that includes a lesson book, a theory book, a technique book, and it also comes with pre-recorded performance tracks and accompaniment tracks. This will give you the best chance at keeping yourself in time, at picking up on mistakes, because when you play to an accompaniment, you will hear that something is wrong when you play the wrong note, because it doesn't match the accompaniment track, and also it's going to give you a better overall musical knowledge. When you play your songs, try to listen to them played by someone else on YouTube or iTunes, and listen to it many times to be able to remember the rhythms and the sound and the expression. You don't have to copy somebody, but when you're a beginner and there's no one there to stop you, your memory or your ears are going to be your best judge and your best guidance when you learn to play something. Tip number 3 is record yourself. This might sound a bit scary as we don't like to hear our voices, we don't like to hear our mistakes, but you will be amazed how much better you can focus on your performance when you're listening from an outer perspective. When we play, we have to focus on so many things, from notation to rhythm to pedaling to lifting up our hands, that it's very difficult to pick up on mistakes. But as soon as you listen to yourself from the couch, from an outer perspective, you're going to be able to pick up on so much more than when you're playing. So recording yourself is crucial. Try to look for interactive apps that use artificial intelligence. I'm not sure if there are any at the moment. I don't really use apps and I don't encourage using them, but if you do want to use one, if there is an app that can listen to you and tell you when you play the wrong note or wrong rhythm, then that's a huge plus in an app. And finally, this is going to be a little bit contradictory, but try to get a lesson at least periodically. If you can't afford lessons, then try to ask for a lesson for Christmas, one for your birthday. You will see that even one lesson with a good teacher is going to make a huge difference in your performance and your musical progression. So, I hope you found this information valuable and you can make a better decision whether you need a teacher, whether you don't need a teacher, what are the pros and cons of having a teacher. Of course, all of this is only applicable when you find a good teacher. There are many teachers who are not exactly what they claim themselves to be, and there are many good teachers that you just won't get along with because you either have different perspectives and different ideas about playing the piano. For example, if you just want to play Adele and Ed Sheeran songs and you go to a piano teacher who is a hardcore classical pianist, it's going to be very difficult to give you any progress because the approach is not going to be suitable. So when I say find a teacher, I always mean a good teacher who is suitable for you, who understands what you want to achieve and has the resources and methods for that to happen. If you have any more questions, leave them in the comments. I try to answer them. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, subscribe for more.